Just trying to think whether there's any other real announcements to throw in there. If anybody, well, I need to do the plug. So in the past month, I've been voted to or elected the team leader for the global Joomla volunteer engagement team. So the result of that is that I'm working on multiple projects with that team to improve the help wanted process, the Joomla volunteer onboarding process, and a few other things that are just starting up in conversation to get more people involved in Joomla. So if anybody wants to find out more, just feel free to reach out, and I'll introduce you to some people in the skill set that you've got and grow it from there. So we had a Joomla team meeting the other day. So that's myself, Stuart, Tim, Nikki, and Nathan. And we're not going to run a in-person conference at the end of 2021. We'll revisit that again in 2022. But we might look at a possible virtual type event at the end of the year where we've got a mixture of online programming and then local in-person programming. That means that we have breakout sessions during the day with Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, and any other cities that want to do something, and then come back for presentations and online content during the rest of the day. So there'll be more information about that as we put it together soon and go from there. Anything I've forgotten from the rest of the team there?
May I ask, does anybody know about what I read on LinkedIn about
yes, the Joomla code. Yeah, so the Joomla code question that you posted at the start. So Joomla code is the very old repository for language packs and a large number of Joomla 1, 1.5 and 2.5 extensions. So it's sort of a precursor to GitHub where anything that was built could be put on Joomla code, and then that could be the base for it to be distributed as an extension or language packs and all that sort of stuff. So the Joomla 3 language packs are actually served out of Joomla code at the moment, but that's about to change. So the article that was posted a week ago roughly explains that they've been very slow on the phase out plan. It's taken them 5 years since they made the decision. The final things that are stuck that need to be relocated and the system changed so that if you go to install a Joomla language pack at the moment, it looks to Joomla code. That's going to be changed so it looks to the new home for the language packs, which will be via crowd-in and a different mechanism. And so in winding that down, they've got to move all the projects or deprecate and retire some of the projects. And that's going to be a process over the next couple of months. Tied into that is how the language program is being restructured. And there's a new translation program team being mooted and put together at the moment. And what their responsibility will be is to combine all of the translation groups from around the Joomla project into the one program. And so at the moment, you'd have to deal with one team for core translations, another one for community translations, another one for other incidental translations. What's going to happen is that all the translators will be managed out of this one program. All the translation tasks will be fed into that program, and there should be more localization coming out of that as a major new way to get lots more people involved. So as much as most of the people in the session today solely speak English, there is an opportunity for English as first language speakers to join that team, because one of the things that they've found is that they've got a lot of things that are initially translated into English by a non-English speaker, and quite often there's some discrepancies in the actual English and they need to be fixed up. As part of translating things, I'm currently maintaining the English US language pack, and I put a request in before all this started, the changes started, to actually create a new version of the English Australia language pack. So the English Australia language pack's been around for I think various versions since 2011. It's maintained by a guy that I've never met, who's actually a WordPress developer, I think somewhere in northern New South Wales. Len Fitzgerald, which every time I ask, nobody knows who he is. So it's not actually a language pack. It's a language definition file that says spit out the English AU language tag for the site, but the rest of the language pack just use all the default language. So it's not in the true sense of how it should be an English Australian language pack. So the plan is to get a proper one made, but in being a proper one, it's actually just a duplicate of the English GB one. But we might go through and add a few things like the default for saying hello to a user might be good day instead of hello and things like that. So so when that comes about, I'll let everyone know. And then if we can find some New Zealanders, we might end up with a New Zealand one as well. We're going to look at what the advantages are to having, if anyone knows, pipe up, what the advantages to having a localized language pack code or a language code going out for a site from SEO point of view. I'll save that for another session.
I've got a question. I talk Appalachian American good. Do they need folk like me in there?
Yeah, I haven't seen much of the redneck in there.
I mean, I talk it good.
The English US one is quite amusing because effectively it is just English to English, so you can fly through the copy and paste to get it all worked out. But occasionally you'll actually read, that they've spelled colour with a U, or they've put optimization with an S instead of a Z. So then once you find a word, you then search crowd in and you find all the instances of that in one go and just go and quickly fix them all up and it's done. So it's one of the few languages that's now at 100% ready to go, but only 29% approval. And what that means is that if it was exported into Joomla 4 today, only 29% of the translations are approved, and so only 29% would go into Joomla. So, so this one of the new things, this new team is going to get started straight on, is getting a lot of people involved as both translators and also translation managers. And the translation manager's job is to then pump through all of the approvals to make that happen. So, so currently you can install Joomla in 3 languages in Joomla 4. And by the end of the process, on crowding, there's 88 languages that are in the works at the moment. So, so if anybody does speak something other than redneck, no, so I'm getting in trouble from my wife here. She hasn't had the rest of the context there. So if anyone's got any languages, reach out and I can point you as to where to go to put that.
An option, or
well, that's probably where we head with the English Australian one, is to go down the Bogan path as well. So, yeah. I'd like to see eventually, the Yoda version, the Pirate version, and the Elfin version that I think are in Google Translate. So
Samuel L. Jackson's version, perhaps.
Samuel L. Jackson's version, and the Klingon version, I think, is the other popular one there. So yeah, cool. All right. So anything else that anybody wants to announce or? No?
Yeah, just a reminder that the videos will be up, and there are obviously the preceding meeting videos available on the Joomla website and YouTube channel. So just make sure you view them, get a bit of action happening there.
Yeah. view them and share them to your networks, and that'll boost them as well. A little exercise. I think it was back in September or October, I think, where we made a concerted push to get people subscribing to the YouTube channel. Means that now you can actually jump straight into. I forgot the name of the channel. So we've actually got a channel name because we've got over 100 subscribers. So it's and now I can't find the short code for it. We do have a short name for the channel. I'll post that in something else later. But,
how many people do you have subscribed?
There's 113 subscribers now. So it's growing slowly. There's another project at the moment. So there's a Joomla user groups team that's been sort of rebooted and restructured as to how it works. In the past, it's been an administrative unit. So if you're a user group, you had to contact them through the help desk to get approved, and then they'd send you an approval, and that was it. What we now change it to is that once you're approved, you then go onto a newsletter, and so all the coordinators will find out more information, and then we'll be starting to put together resources that are things like lists of presenters around the world for Joomla user groups to tap into, and a library of all the YouTube videos on different topics, and actually try and get that to a point where you can go and look for a topic and you'll get any videos that are available for that keyword. So that'll be a project running throughout this year to get that sorted out. So yeah. Actually, Brian Rono, you should introduce yourself. Brian is actually the user group team leader from based in, I should remember this. You're in Germany or Netherlands? He's muted and try.
Hi, I'm Brian. I'm from Denmark.
Denmark. That's close. So Brian's the user group coordinator for the global team at the moment. So all things that I mentioned a minute ago, we're talking with Brian, and the other day we had representatives from 7 countries in the meeting, and so that team's going to be interesting. So is there anything you want to add, Brian, as to where you see user groups going?
At the moment, we are trying to connect to all the user groups and hear about how they are going, and if we can help them to getting better or helping with getting presented speakers to the meetings or help with topics. Everything that we can help to getting more great meetings at the jobs. And then I have my I run a group in Denmark too, where we have the same issue as many groups with topics. What should we talk about? Not always Joomla 4, but also much more things.
So Brian, it'll be in your better time of day for you. You'll be joining the London group tonight as well.
I didn't see that they had the meeting, so but yes, I will.
I think it's about 9 o'clock your time tonight.
Yeah, 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
Now, now it's 9:40 in the morning.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so the London session is going to be a variation on what we've had tonight, in that it's going to be covering more of the Bootstrap 5 in Joomla 4. So for those in Melbourne or Victoria and New South Wales, that's 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Stuart, it's 5 o'clock for you Brisbane folk, and middle of the night for anyone in WA. We haven't got Shane on tonight, so
Yeah, it's locked it in.
yeah, 3 o'clock in the morning, so it's an early one. So yeah, cool. All right, has anyone got anything else to mention? Or?
I would just like to add one more thing, is that one of the headquarters guys chimed in to speak to me this week, and he was saying that they want to run another moderator election, and he asked me if I thought if they ran it, if anyone would bother raising their hand, and I said probably not. There's no indication that anybody really is chomping at the bit to get in, but ideally, if anybody was interested, and please pass this on to the London group, is that I'm looking for someone that has at the very least, a brief bit of experience with anything in the Stack Exchange multiverse, but more importantly for me, to cover my weaknesses, I would like someone who has had experience or is currently a contributor to the core. I would like someone who's actually active or was active, so they can better weed out some of the good and the bad questions that I'm apprehensive about making a judgment call. But if they're interested, it doesn't matter, how much rep they have, these fake unicorn points that don't really make any difference. If you're interested, let me know in some fashion, and I'll sort of ask them to run the election. I don't know if they will or not, but the other moderator is in Greece, and he's already stated he wants out. So then it would only be me. So ideally, it would be someone from another time zone. Not that it would be such a bad thing to have someone else from Australia, New Zealand, but it would be better spread if it's somebody in Europe and perhaps somebody in America. I think they would probably entertain 2 people coming on, but again, I'd like to have a bit of coverage across the world if possible. So
I'll chat more with you during the week on that.
all right.
I think we've just missed this month's community opening articles for Joomla magazine's been submitted, but that's certainly something to add in to try and recruit people from the next magazine, and then I'll add it into other Joomla volunteer engagement conversations.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, cool. Thanks. All right, that's all from me.
That's all from me. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Stuart will shoot me a link to the videos when they're uploaded soon, and then they'll be posted on the Joomla Australia website and the YouTube channel in a playlist broken into the various parts of the session. So thanks for all coming. Talk to you all soon.